Every year, countless marine species are unintentionally caught and discarded by fishing vessels across the world's oceans. This incidental capture, known as bycatch, has a wide-ranging impact on marine species including dolphins, sea turtles, and seabirds, animals that were never intended to be part of the catch. Globally, an estimated 95.2 million tons of marine life are caught accidentally each year. Large-scale bycatch not only highlights inefficiencies in current fishing practices, but also underscores the urgent need for better management and conservation measures worldwide. The ecological consequences of bycatch are profound. Bycatch often consists of species that fisheries cannot retain, fishes that are undersized or surplus, as well as endangered species.
There are some varied understandings of the word, but in general, bycatch refers to any species that is caught in a fishing operation that wasn't intended to be caught.
31% of this unwanted catch is discarded dead, leading to significant ecological waste and disruption. This imbalance can ripple through the food chain, disrupting relationships and weakening the stability of the ecosystems. Moreover, the problem is exacerbated by fisheries who promote illegal fishing operations, referred to as pirate fishing, complicating the issue by ignoring basic regulations when fishing.
One challenge in understanding bycatch, though, and particularly relevant to the Southeast Asia part of the world, or the East Asia part of the world, is that a fisherman might deploy his net and catch a turtle, and while the turtle was not intended to be caught, he will keep it anyway. But in some countries, bycatch is just discarded. So we catch a turtle, we don't want it, we throw it back in the ocean. In some places, we don't mean to catch a turtle, but we catch it and we keep it. So both start out being bycatch, but if you keep it, it ends up becoming a byproduct of what you were collecting in the first place.
Unintentional capture of non-targeted species during fishing, marine bycatch, poses a significant risk to the marine ecosystems by challenging the population balance of endangered species such as sharks, marine mammals, and sea turtles. Consequently, it can threaten the maintenance of species that are vital in keeping the equilibrium of ecosystems. For instance, the population decline of sea turtles, which are the main consumers of seagrasses, will lead to the overabundance of the seagrass. This may cause unexpected harm to the other species that rely on these environments.
And this has many conservation implications because, and this is a case that just came out for Solomon Islands in the Pacific, where they estimate over 10,000 turtles are kept by fishermen that didn't mean to catch them in the first place every year. Right, that's a massive number of turtles that are being kept because they accidentally got caught in fishing operation.
Furthermore, marine bycatch can cause broader ecological effects than on the individual species. It can impact the food webs and the relationships between the marine organisms, causing domino effects on the ecosystem.
Is equally good because a lot of people don't realize just how important these species can be. And I'll relay just one example. I'm not going to go into much detail, but the case of the green turtle. So the green turtle feeds on seagrass. And seagrass is very much like the grass that you see growing outside your homes or on the streets or in a garden, in a football pitch. And just like grass that's at home on a football pitch, it needs regular cutting to keep it nice and healthy. If you see grass at home that gets way too long, you know that the bottom underneath is all brown and it's kind of dead because it's not receiving any sunlight. Well, the same thing happens underwater. If grass grows and grows and grows, eventually it becomes an unhealthy habitat. But then a sea turtle comes along and acts like an underwater lawnmower. And it crops and it crops and it crops seagrass, and it keeps that habitat healthy. Now, the reason this is important, seagrasses also produce a lot of oxygen. The other thing is that seagrasses and their roots can sequester or store an amazing amount of carbon dioxide. So while we're talking about climate change and the issues of excessive carbon dioxide production, so long as we have healthy seagrass beds, those are absorbing and sequestering a lot of that carbon dioxide. And finally, these seagrass habitats are the nursery grounds to many commercial species, including things like shrimp. So if anybody likes eating shrimp, you can thank sea turtles for keeping seagrass habitats healthy, because without sea turtles keeping those habitats healthy, we wouldn't have shrimp to put on a barbecue in the evening one day.
Now, Dr. Pilcher is the leader of MRF, an NGO located in Sabah, Malaysia, that helps prevent marine bycatch in general and also preserve turtles in the ocean. In fact, Dr. Pilcher has made connections multiple times with the Malaysian government, going as far as to make his activist movements have a tangible impact.
NGOs, in a very clear way of saying it, NGOs do not implement government policy. The role that NGOs have is to bring new material to the table, new arguments to the table, new solutions to the table, and provide those to government agencies so that they can go, oh, we hadn't thought of that. That's a really good idea. And so that leads me into the turtle excluded device story. In a very, very easy description, a turtle excluded device is nothing more than an oval-shaped metal grid. And the metal grid fits into the neck of a trawl net. And if you're looking at it sideways like this, you've got these bars going up and down. And fish and shrimp can go through the bars and end up in the catch bag at the back. But something big like a turtle would hit these and go out through a flap. It's that simple. It's not mechanical, it's nothing, it's just a metal grid. The challenge in getting people to adopt it, however, is massive. And the reason for that is that fishermen spend their days fixing holes in nets to make sure the nets all work. And then we come along and suggest that at the top of this grid, they have a nice big hole so the turtles can escape.
Yeah.
And even though that hole is covered with a flap, the fishermen just have this feeling that shrimp and fish are all intelligent and go, oh, look, there's a hole up there, let's all escape. And of course, that's not quite how it works. But Malaysia didn't use turtle excluder devices. And we had run some studies that showed that about 5,000 turtles a year were dying in trawl fisheries. And so the solution was use turtle excluder devices. And so then we started working with the government agencies, the Department of Fisheries, and explaining to them that not only would this save turtles, but it would also provide, a better product, and it was better for fishermen, and it would save diesel and all kinds of things. And so after a couple of years of partnership with the government, they realized that, yeah, you're right. TEDs are a good thing for us. And so now in Peninsular Malaysia, TEDs are a legal requirement. And that is saving probably about 1,000 turtles a year. And we're still waiting for the state of Sabah and our neighboring state of Sarawak to make those a legal requirement. And when that happens, we'll probably end up saving up to about 5,000 turtles a year.
As a doctor with a PhD in turtles, he pursued the dream of any marine conservation major doctor, which is to preserve marine animals of their interest for a living.
And if there's one thing I could say to aspiring, environmental interest people, is don't let anybody suggest you're anything less than the absolute hero you are. In fact, what we do for a living is changing the planet to a better place. As I've said, I wasn't born, it wasn't on my bucket list to become a leader of an NGO or to establish an NGO, but I saw a need, right? And so that's my next point, is if you see a need, then do something about it, right? I was watching a documentary on plastics once, but one of the things that struck me that the announcer was saying was, that, they have to do something about it. Who is they? They is always someone else, right? They is always not you. And I will challenge you to say, if somebody is not doing something about some problem that you see, then you can step in and fill that void. You know, before MRF existed, there were no marine NGOs in Malaysia. Now there's over a dozen. And I'd look back and it pleases me beyond belief that I could get people's interest to want to set up that number of NGOs to do something about the marine environment. And then lastly, remember that without passion, without it being something that's embedded in your soul, this is just a job. And a job is something that you can one day walk away from. I couldn't walk away from MRF and marine conservation ever. Like, I just can't see it happening, right? And so that third thing that I think is massively important is for you to find your passion. What is it? Is it a particular bird or lobsters or, you know, whatever it is, right? Whatever passion ends up embedded in you, follow that one, because that's the one that's going to keep you happy as you do this year in and year after year after year, like I have. Hope those help.